Are they more vulnerable being overtaxed?
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. Once again, allow me be grateful for having this opportunity to ventilate on matters as they are pertaining to the national interest. And I want to also join my friends and colleagues in wishing those who have had challenges of flood and landslides quick recovery for those who are injured, and also peace, especially this time when those families are facing those hardship. I want to come to taxation. Article 209 of the Constitution of Kenya anchors the role and the principle of taxation in Kenya. And the Constitution is a product of our own engagement as a country, and we gave it to ourselves and promulgated it in 2010. And so it became that our social contract, upon which we derive all our rights and from which all our duties come. And a duty that has come as of the moment we talk is a duty that pertains to taxation. Every government in this world must only survive by taxation. That's the largest and the most cardinal source of revenue for any government in whichever part of the world, whether in Africa or outside Africa. And therefore, Kenya cannot be excluded. And I think the first important thing, our leaders, and I want to maybe focus a little on what Honorable Jared Okello said. When Frederick Okango refers to Honorable Jared Okello as able member of their coalition, yet we know that there are certain statements he made which are not actually correct in respect of what is, or in respect of the foregoings. And I'm happy that the member has corrected that. That what the president said was not in respect of value-added tax. And he made the comparison based on those. So I think the clarification has been made. I cannot go back to that. The budget that the government is focusing on was initially 4.2 trillion, but it has been reduced. And the government has come up with the methods of raising revenue. First, in the appropriation bill, which I believe they are going to ventilate in the nearest future, there is a section for what is expected source of revenue and also what is expected expenditure. It really baffles me when I see members of parliament coming to ventilate as to how much is allocated for what particular project or activity, which actually they are supposed to be ventilating in parliament. Because if they talk about how much has been set aside for what particular job or what particular activity, which they feel is not supposed to be done, then I know that they have an avenue. In fact, we who don't sit in parliament are the ones who should utilize this avenue to tell Kenyans about that. Yet they have that particular very important and authentic avenue to discuss this. And so brings me to this finance bill. The finance bill is a document which is generated and developed by the government for purposes of informing the public as to where they are going to raise their revenue. And this is a proposal which is taken to Parliament for discussion and also is being subjected to the public for public participation. If they say that the trend in this country is that whenever there is public participation, the government always gets its way, it is then their duty to check the role that they play as opposition. Do they play it correctly to allow or disallow government from getting its own way? I am hereby saying, effects of, when we talk about taxation, it is not a punishment. I think when they say that you punish the poor, taxation is not punishment. Because Kenyans are not overtaxed as even it is said. I want to defend that position. That one...
That we are not overtaxed.
We are not overtaxed as we speak. Okay. Because, let us see, there are different types of taxes. The ones which affect people directly is what is called private income. That is income tax. Income tax is actually, look at the employment, the pay slips. I saw one of the nurses explaining to us the nature of their pay slip. There's only 30% pay as you earn, which has not been increased. Kenyans must know that the pay as you earn has not been increased in this finance bill. It is still remaining 30% of your income. And there's no any other tax except levy. Housing, it is a levy, it's not a tax. It is a levy which is intended that there be development of housing, and such individuals who are capable of acquiring those houses do acquire them and then pay back, so that those who have not acquired will have the refund or maybe necessary reimbursement of their collection. But the government is creating income pool so that they can develop those housing. And in fact, the government was vindicated when the opposition leaders went to Mathare and realized how Kenyans live in very adverse condition. And they even asked the president now to give those affordable housing to the people who are suffering there. So they saw actually that Kenyans really need those things. It's only that they were refusing simply because the opposition we have in the country is merely created to oppose, without clue, without idea, without agenda, and they want the president to do as they think, yet they fail to acquire the position of leadership in this country. I can tell you that when we talk about motor vehicle tax, every time the opposition leaders talk, they say Kenyans are supposed to compare themselves to countries like Singapore. We say at a particular level, we were the same as Singapore. But go to Singapore, Trevor. For you to acquire the ability to have a vehicle on the road in Singapore, leave alone buying the vehicle, you require a license of 140,000 Singapore's dollars. That one translates to 106,619 US dollars. You will require that first before you go to the market to buy. If you go to London, for example, you will require particular parking fees which you must show that you are able to give before you can be allowed to put a vehicle on the road. In Kenya, we have never been charged any penny for having a vehicle on the road, except for fuel levy and a few taxes which are involved in that. So,
are you comparing Kenya with London?
Yeah, I think I was very quiet.
Even if you're comparing Kenya and London, there is taxes for the vehicle the moment you buy it.
I was very silent when he was executing his point.
You can't mislead the public.
I'm not misleading the public. We have to live in the global world where everything moves as per the globe, as per the dictates of the international community. And we cannot pretend in Kenya. When the president said comparing ourselves, we are a state in Africa and also in the world. And every time the opposition talk, they want to compare us to those countries, especially when they want to challenge the government. Why is it that when now the government is challenging them to the same duel, government cannot use the opportunity to compare with those other countries? Because Singapore is not as big economy as we are, but we are supposed to be age mates, as is referred. Therefore, I'm telling you that tax is a way by which government raises revenue, and it is duty of parliament. And I want to take this thing back to parliament. Kenyans, according to Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya, have that right. Sovereignty belongs to the people, and they can exercise it either directly or indirectly through their elected representatives.
Okay.
So if elected representatives have been given duty in parliament, like it was in the Finance Bill of 2023, Honorable Jared Okello and his friends decided to run out of parliament instead of debating the finance bill, and then they said that the government too got its way. Let our members of parliament go to parliament, do their job, and then don't take back the blame to anybody, because Parliament is the house that makes laws, is the house that amends laws, is the house that makes every law obsolete or otherwise functional. So they need to do their work, not to challenge. The president has only made a proposal. It will go to them. Kenyans will propose their amendments as they so wish, but Parliament will have a final say in rubber stamping or otherwise correcting if there is any correction to be made. So Parliament must first of all stand up for the Kenyan people, and if they decide it is a collective responsibility, whether you vote no, or you vote yes, or you run out, or you sit in Parliament, Kenyans will all come back to them, not the president. Thank you.